Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to use the VLOOKUP function. Let me explain how this worksheet is set up. This is actually a worksheet showing a list of artwork, and then we've got all the information about the artwork. Well, what we have to do is we have to ship the artwork out, and we have to find a few things here. Based on the cubic feet, which is the size of the artwork, we need to find out what the cost of the box is going to be and what the cost of shipping is going to be. Now this last column, total cost, that's just going to be adding the results of these two. Well, if we were to do this ourselves, if we manually had a sheet that had a first column that had the cubic feet, okay, and the second column would be the cost of the box based on the cubic feet, and the third column would be the shipping cost based on the cubic feet. If you did this manually, you would look at that 3.5 and say, okay, where does that land in this first column of my cost sheet? Well, it's definitely greater than 0, but it's less than 5. So what we're going to do is I would say, okay, it's going to cost us $5 for the box, and it's going to cost $5.50 to ship it. Well, what the VLOOKUP function does, it takes care of scanning that table for you. So let's go ahead and let's do the VLOOKUP. So I'm going to go ahead and go from the Formulas tab, the Lookup and Reference group, go down to VLOOKUP. Now the VLOOKUP function has 4 arguments, 3 of which are required. Now the first one says lookup value, and this is really just what do you want it to look up in the first column of your table. Well, we want it to look up the cubic feet. Okay. Now the second argument is what's the table? And the table array is a table of text, numbers, or values in which data is retrieved. So our lookup table is down here at the bottom. And notice that I just highlight starting with the first value in the first column down to the last value in the last column. Now keep in mind the first thing we're doing is finding the box cost, but I'm still going to highlight every column in my lookup table. The second thing I'm going to make sure I do, because I know I want to copy this formula down, I'm going to make this an absolute reference by pressing the F4 function key. So no matter where I copy this down, it will always go to H25 through J30 for the table. Now the third argument is the column number in the table from which the matching value should be returned. And what that means is, do I want the box cost to be returned as the answer, or do I want the shipping cost? Well, we're working on the box cost first, so this is column 2. So you just type a number 2. So the column index is either going to be a number 2, 3, 4, however many columns you have, and which one in particular you're wanting to retrieve the answer from. It's never going to be column 1, because column 1 is always the comparison column. That's the column that it's going to look up whatever value you have in H6. So let's go ahead and click OK, and let's see what we get here. Well, it looks like for the cost of the box, it looked up 3.5 in the cubic feet. Again, this was our table. It scanned the first column. It said OK. It looks like 5 is greater than 3, so I got to go with the lower number. And remember, the second thing I said was to use the second column in the table, and it used the second column, and that's the answer that it retrieved. Let me go ahead and show you this again with the formula displayed. The lookup value. We said go to H6, and whatever number is in H6, that's what I want you to look up in the first column of the table. And that second argument is what's the table? Where's it located? And you can see that it's got it highlighted down there in green, outlined in green. And then the third value is out of that table, which column, 2 or 3, do you want to retrieve the answer from? And the answer is going to be from column 2. And that is the VLOOKUP function. So I'm just going to copy this down. And you can see, because we, again, are looking up now H6. This was a relative cell address, so it just went to the left one, but the table stayed the same because we made it an absolute reference, and the column index stays the same because we're pulling the answer from the second column. So we can actually do this again for our shipping costs, and what I'm going to do, instead of copying that formula over, because keep in mind it's just going to go to the left one for the first argument, we need it to come over here, and I don't want to complicate this for you. So I'm going to go ahead and do the VLOOKUP one more time to have it find the shipping cost. And remember, the shipping cost is the third column in our table. So we're going to go to Lookup and Reference, VLOOKUP, okay, and what we're looking up, again, same thing, the cubic feet. and our table. And I'm going to make sure I press the F4 function key to make that an absolute reference. But this time I'm looking for the shipping cost, and that is in the third column of our table. So the column index number is going to be a number 3. So I'm going to click OK. Looks like it found 550, so it found 3.5 cubic feet. Matches right here with the first item. And we said go to the third column, and that's the answer that I want you to display. And it displays $5.50. So let me go ahead and scan that down. Let's just pick one in the middle. Again, the lookup value is what's ever in H14, and what's in H14 is 7.3. The table, you can see that it's outlined, and it's always going to use the first column to look up whatever number you have for the first argument. So we had for the lookup value in H14 is 7.3, so it scans it. 8's too big. Oh, let me go back in there. 8's too big, but 7, that's correct. And then remember we said in this one, because we're trying to find the shipping cost, use the answer in the third column, $22. And that's what we got. And that's how you use the VLOOKUP. So it's really no different than if you had a price sheet in front of you and you were looking up how much it would cost to ship something, or how much the cost would be for the box and materials to ship it in. And in this case, they're just using the cubic feet or the size of the item. And that's your VLOOKUP. And I would also encourage you to use the internet to search for VLOOKUP as well, and look up some of those videos that are out there. And you can also go to Atomic Learning once you log into My C State as well.